Hi everybody, Dina Shalom here and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for popping in and please subscribe to the channel so you'll find out when I post new videos. So as you know, I'm a physical therapist and an Iyengar yoga teacher. Today's post is going to be a little bit more about yoga. I'm going to start to create more of a yoga playlist of videos as well, since I haven't broken those out as much yet. So I hear many different problems and questions that people have with certain poses. So I'm going to start with the most common ones. Dog pose is a very popular, very commonly taught pose in all different methods of yoga. So a lot of times people will complain about neck and shoulder problems with dog pose. So I'm going to go over maybe a little bit of why and also one or two modifications that you can do. Okay, so dog pose requires a lot of flexibility throughout the whole body. So if you don't have it in one place, it's going to make you work harder at another. And a lot of that is what happens in dog pose. So in dog pose, if you're starting, whether you're going into it from, standing or in a flow, it doesn't matter. But in dog pose, you've got weight in the arms and you've got weight in the legs. So you notice that I'm coming up high on my tiptoes just to help me get some length through the body and a lift of the hips and the pelvis. So if I'm really tight and I can't get weight back into my legs, everything crashes into my arms. You can see that, right? So that's where people usually complain of neck and shoulder problems. So instead of going right into this and putting your feet down, and I'm doing a bad pose on purpose here. I've got my heels down, but I've got no energy in my legs and I'm crashing into my arms. So that's not a great dog pose and it's not going to feel good over time for your neck and shoulders. So here's sort of a step-by-step way you can get into it and see where you run into your blocks or limitations. So start on your hands and knees, and you notice that my knees are back behind my hips, right? So they're not right under my hips, so that way I get a long enough dog pose. Curl the toes under, shoulders away from the ears, and then I come up, straighten the knees, and I start to reach my hips back towards the wall behind me, okay? If I stay high on my tiptoes, it gives me more rooms in my hamstrings and my calf, and I can actually get the weight back into my legs better. So I would just try that first. If you feel like, hey, I got this, then see what happens if you start to reach the heels back. So this time, I'm reaching my heels back and I'm not letting my hips collapse and my low back round. If that's not available to you, then I will go on to another modification. Okay, so you might have found with your body that that was not possible for you to get that lift with keeping the legs straight. So there's bent knee versions galore, but I'm going to show you something a little different today. So you're going to put a chair or something against a wall or a piece of furniture so it's stable. And so now what I'm doing is, instead of bending the knees, I'm just raising the floor up. Of course, I could do this with a couple of blocks, which would give me a little bit of a lift, but we're going big. We're starting with the chair, okay? So same concept, hands on the chair, slightly rolling the hands out. So you sort of curl 3 fingers around the edge of the chair, shoulders away from the ears, and then step your feet back so that you can start to get that sense of elongating the spine. So this is me not doing that. I'm crashing my weight into the chair. Here's me drawing my hips back and taking weight into my heels. So in full dog pose, eventually that's what we want to feel, is that you can lengthen the spine and get weight in the heels and really use the muscles of your legs to traction your spine. So if I'm not doing that, I'm crashing onto the chair. Okay? So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. I could do 3 hours on dog pose alone. So that's just one variation to start to help you get that feel of lengthening the spine and pressing the weight back towards the legs so that you take weight off of the arms. So I want you to start to play with that before you just bend the knees and not try to get the weight back in the legs. All right, so I hope you find that helpful. Any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments.